very controversial decision at the start of the year, whether he would captain or whether Fittler would captain. Daley got the nod, and here he is, taking the Blues out. Johns on the last. A cross kick. The jump is on, and it's been batted down. Daley's over the line.
Your first call up to New South Wales, who made that decision and how did that phone call come through to you?
Yeah, I'll tell you where I was. I was at the Queanbeyan Leagues Club. We were on the drink after a game.
Did you get together to hear who was in?
No, we didn't. Oh. No. Well, I never really thought I was a chance. So here I am on the dance floor. And then someone came and said, mate, you've just been selected in Origin. And then it was like, right, more drinks, here we go. Turning up in camp and working with Jack Gibson, you know, one of the great coaches of the game, and some of the players that were in the team, some of them were young too, making their debuts.
Laurie Daley, just 19 years of age. In fact, 3 players here only 19 years of age. The feeling must be unbelievable for them. Through
that 90s, New South Wales, you had such a good group.
Onto Alexander, puts a high ball up, and there's plenty of chasers coming through. Underneath it is...
What was it about that flush of Blues that changed you as a player and maybe as a man?
We all got on really well, and they were the best times of your life. You couldn't wait to get to Origin camp.
Elias to the right for Stewart, onto Alexander, floats it to Daley. Daley's kicks a grubber, and the beauty. Daley scores! We just saw some of the skills from this young man, Laurie Daley, that has had a lot of people suggesting he's the best player in the world.
You know, you're waiting to get the phone call, and then you couldn't wait to arrive. And you'd always stay at the hotel there in Coogee, and you'd walk into reception, and I always just remember Cement. Cement would be the first one there, and he'd be having a beer, and he'd see you, and just order the beers, and away you went. You went straight to the bar.
Daley! Brasher is down, injured. Daley! He does it himself! Laurie Daley puts it over the line!
You know, the forward pack that we played behind in those early 90s was something else. They were big, strong, skillful, intimidating.
Well, the boy's getting a little bit carried away. Martin Bella throwing a little left there. Creepy
Bella and Clyde.
I thought Clyde handled him pretty well, Block.
Yeah, good punches from Bradley Clyde there. It's good to see a bit of old Biffo in the State of Origin, mate.
You mentioned the premiership in 90, and then 4 days later you're on the Ashes tour. Was that your first Australian tour?
Yeah, 1990 was, yeah.
Intercepted by Daley. Daley for Eddinghausen. He gets try number 2.
Didn't have a sort of great tour because I injured my hand, actually, on my 21st birthday.
How'd you do that?
Got into a fight. We were playing Leeds. I went in to help Mark McGaw, and I hit a bloke in the head and I broke my hand. So that wasn't great.
Phil Ford and Laurie Daley trading plenty of punches over the far touchline. Everybody's getting in. Now this is going to end up in the crowd.
93, Mal was suspended, and you get the opportunity to captain Australia.
One of the greatest honours you can have, isn't it? Captaining your country.
Laurie Daley, in fact, the first time out as the Australian captain. Mal Meninga, the man serving out a suspension.
And again, not really thinking that I would have that opportunity, but it's more later, I reckon, when you finish your footy career, when you reflect back on your career, that you go, wow, that's a great moment. Not many people get to do that.
And it led you into 94, which was a golden year in every single way, you know, club, state. New South Wales win the Origin Shield. Now, Queensland still herald the Mark Coyne try.
Queensland are coming back. Darren Smith for Langer. Langer gets it away. Here's the big fella. Gets the pass on. Coyne goes for the corner. Queensland. It's a miracle. Oh, yeah.
But Blues won the series. That gets lost.
On the third tackle. Stewart across for Daley. Laurie Daley. Oh, that is magnificent.
We all just sort of focus on the miracle try. But you were there. You like the Blues won the series. You were captain.
Surreal because it was the 3rd year in a row.
Oh, here's an intercept and a try, and State of Origin 1994. Brad Fittler scores the try, and that is it.
And 94 was always going to be hard because it was Mal's last year.
And this welcome, this reception is not just for Queensland, but for Mal Meninga. The last time, the big fella's out there. This is the biggest party he's ever been to.
And going up there, 1-1, we knew the emotion surrounding that contest, so we knew we had to start fast. And I always remember that game, Gus coming to me and goes, "Don't go after the toss." And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Keep Mal waiting, keep Mal waiting." And I'm like, "Oh, what do you mean, keep him waiting?" He said, "Just go." Touchy'd come in, captain for the toss. We can't find him. so they kept on sort of calling. And it felt like, 10 minutes. It was probably only a minute and a half. And I went out for the toss with Mal. He wasn't happy.
Steaming.
He was staring at me. Try and get him off his game. I don't know whether it did or not, but I felt sort of, oh, no, he's going to kill me.
Because there was a bit of history between you and Mal at Origin.
Well, only
because he went after you in your debut.
Only because he smashed me in game 1.
Yeah.
4 tries to 0, 22 to 0. And it's gone away now for Linda coming across the 22, crabbing across. But now he straightens. Linda goes for the line, gets a pass away, and big Mal Meninga goes in for the double.
He ran all over the top of me. I just never forgot it. It was sort of one of those moments where you're playing against your club captain, and he just terrorised me.
The full-time siren sounds in the background. It's all over. Queensland absolutely annihilating New South Wales.
Just sort of taught me what Origin was about.
But then 5 years later, the power had shifted a bit, and he was in his last Origin.
I remember Gus sort of reminding me of that. Years earlier, he spoke about, what's your memories of Origins, good and bad, and I remember saying that to him.
Laurie Daley, enormous occasion for him. I'm a little surprised that Lamb wouldn't be taking the short ones. He's missed it. He's missed a gift ticket goal.
And then, only as Gus could, 3 years later or 4 years later, he had a cuppa with me and he goes, "Mate, it's Mal's last game, and what are you sort of going to do about it?" And I said, "Oh, well, I'm going to try and win." And he said, "Mate, you remember how he made you feel in '89? He said, "Mate, you can have that moment on him in this game if you want."
An exit from the Origin scene, one of rugby league's greats, Mal Meninga.
Part of me, you feel sorry for him, but knowing the career he's had, you shouldn't feel sort of sorry for him at that moment.
It's fine.
It was short-lived, What a year Mal had, like winning the grand final and then captaining Australia to the Ashes victory.
Stewart is with it, through the hands for Daley. Touched by Great Britain, Daley! He scores his 10th try in Test football!
And then riding off into the sunset.
He deserves it, big fella.
Exactly right.
There was captaincy drama brewing back at Clubland. Ricky Stewart was named captain of the Raiders.
The Canberra side led out by Ricky Stewart. Must be a great moment for him to lead them out.
How did that sit with you?
Obviously disappointing when you missed out, but it was one of those ones where Sheensy sat me down, he goes, "Even though you're the captain of New South Wales, you've captained Australia, Ricky's the best captain for the club." So it's hard to disagree when someone sort of says that to you. But not every decision you're going to like.
Did you talk to Rick about it?
Yeah.
And what did he say?
I was funny.
Yeah.
Well, you know what we're like. I'm disappointed. You're happy. Let's go and have a beer. And away we went.
Stewart. His partner in crime, Laurie Daley. Daley, has he got the speed? Slips it to Boyle. Boyle makes the try line.
Around that 95, the game was about to go through the biggest change. And we're about to hit this Super League war.
We signed off our own accord. The guys that have signed, believe in the Super League and, they're quite happy.
For you to then take up that position as one of the faces of Super League, that would have been very difficult.
Yes, it was going to be challenging, but we didn't think it would be as challenging as it became.
Sneaking up on the establishment like a stealth bomber, the Rupert Murdoch-backed Super League organisation made its initial raid on the Australian Rugby League's playing ranks while the 1994 Kangaroo Tour of Britain was in full swing.
We didn't realise the amount of damage that it was going to cause and the uproar. Now, people would say, "Oh, how didn't you know that?" We just thought at the end of the day, people would come back together and there would be a competition and away you went.
The fact is that I'm a little bit concerned, and I think most people are, that I'm not sure whether two competitions will work.
But I think we all look back now and say the game since then has never been in better shape.
Any players or coaches who have agreed to be associated with the News Limited Super League will not be considered for representative selection or appointment.
95, you stood down from rep duties. I don't think you probably anticipated that you wouldn't be able to represent your state or your country, but you still win the Daley M, so it didn't impact your footy.
But Daley gets his arms out in front and goes straight through them, and Laurie Daley scores a solo brilliant try.
You know, like, you still got on with the job and controlled what you could control at that stage. Is there anything through that Super League time you look back and still shake your head at?
Because they gave us sort of these loyalty checks, and, you know, they ranged from, I don't know, $100,000 to $50,000 to whatever. Everyone sort of was throwing in a briefcase the loyalty checks when they came back. And I reckon I don't know how much money we had there. It was well over $1 million. Just sitting in a briefcase.
Just in case, checks sitting there.
More beer. And we just sat around having a drink. Weird times.
Back on the training paddock today, but heading for a new home. Ricky Stewart confirming he would be leaving Canberra after a decade.
It's very disappointing that I have to leave Canberra. It's not something that I wanted to do. I've been forced into this situation. I see myself as a Canberra boy. I was born and bred here, and I see that as the hardest thing to come to terms with.
And then Clyde and Stewart left.
Ricky Stewart, that man there on camera, a brand new jumper for him, a brand new season, one of the greats of the modern era.
Was there pressure on you to find something else, or why were you still very determined to remain in Canberra?
Yeah, it was sort of a difficult time for the Raiders because pays had all increased, and I think you had to have a team under the salary cap by a certain period. So there was a lot of guys on big money, so they had to make a choice, and I was lucky that I was one that stayed.
Canberra make their exit from the competition, and Ricky Stewart and Bradley Clyde make their exit from the Raiders.
But I know, you know, Rick and Brad, they were disappointed.
Daley again. They cut out a player. Look, give it to the back line. Reynolds over. Reynolds in to score.
98, you're back Australian captain playing in the Anzac Test. Did you probably think, oh my gosh, I didn't think we'd all get back on the same page and be back in that position?
Yeah, probably not. I probably thought, you know, that everyone would move on and do their own thing, and without going back, they just push forward. And that would have been okay as well. So I was sort of shocked a little bit, to be truthful, that I was able to come back and play. And I really appreciated that.
Both Sydney newspapers have reported coach Bob Fulton overruled selectors in choosing Laurie Daley ahead of ARL Test skipper Brad Fittler. But Fulton stonewalled the media today as the squad prepared to fly out for New Zealand.
Yeah, it's not his issue as far as we're concerned.
I'm just happy that I got the job, and I was just going out there trying to do my best.
Once everyone came back, it felt like a big happy family. That's what it felt like. It just felt like a family fight in terms of the playing group.
It's actually a really good way to put it.
It was like a big family fight. Hey, I'm not talking to you. And then months later, you're all back having a good time and you move on.
No, I missed you.
Yeah. Give us a hug. You're all great mates. Like, I could run into all those guys and you just pick it up where you left off from. That's what I love about our game. That's what I love about rugby league.
You've always been a very stylish man. The leather vests.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And you came through in a time where sex sells in rugby league. Like, it got the greatest promo ever with Tina Turner.
You're simply the best. Better than all the rest.
And young bucks like yourself were climbing over each other trying to get part of the video. So how did you prepare? How did you find yourself in a position to be next to the magnificent Tina Turner?
Well, Vonnie, I've got to say it was one of the biggest letdowns of my career. So everyone was excited because we all thought we were going to meet Tina Turner and we were always going to star in this big ad. And they told us that, you know, the shots would be running on the beach and shirts off and
oiled
image,
up.
you know, yeah. So I didn't have a six-pack, but I'm quite vain. So I thought, geez, I need to get myself looking really good here. I probably shredded for about 5 weeks, and I got myself in the best shape. And we get there, and they threw me a jersey. And I said, all right, what am I washing, mate? What do you want me to do? What do you want me to clean? They said, no, put the jersey on. I said, what, no ab shots?
Lid off?
They said, no, mate, no. You've got the jersey, you're running down the tunnel. Here I was thinking that I was going to be one of the stars of the promo, shirt off, hugging Tina Turner. Never made the shot.
You didn't even want the kid on. Just get it off.
You beautiful doll, you great big beautiful doll.
It's something different. Never wore makeup before.
Well, you got your chance because the Men of League did quite a spicy shoot that still makes me blush in the shower.
Yeah, tough job, but someone's got to do it. But does Laurie Daley think it's fun?
That's all right.
And once they'd slicked him up, it was time to dirty him down. And then it was time to get clean again.
Oh, my God.
How did that happen?
My kids, whenever they see that, they go, Dad, what were you thinking? They get embarrassed.
Quite suggestive.
They get, oh, look at you. Like,
No, you look gorgeous, by the way.
They just, I don't know, it's embarrassing looking back now.
So are you gunning for the cover shot spot?
Oh, I don't think so. I think ET will have that wrapped up.
Daley pumps it back. Daley's over. That is a try. Laurie Daley scores a representative try on farewell in front of the Sydney crowd.
And there is dead set no player out there who deserves this try more than Laurie Daley.
When did you start to realise the body wasn't going to let you do this for much longer? The knees started screaming.
97, I reckon. I had to go in and get my bone drilled. Couldn't train. I just sort of play on the weekends, and I wouldn't be playing to the standard that I wanted to play at. So you knew that, you know, while you were competitive, I wanted to be better than competitive. I reckon I woke up one morning, game day, and I just didn't want to play. It was cold Canberra day, and I was like, geez, this is the first time since I was 5 that I've never woken up excited on game day. I said to Kevin Neal after the game, I said, mate, I think I'm finished, I think I'm gone. And he said, well, don't make a decision, don't rush the decision, have a think about it and come back and see me in a couple of weeks. And then I went back and seen him and I said, yeah, no, I think my time's up, mate. So it was sort of halfway through or, you know, a quarter of the way through 2000 that I knew the end was coming.
Laurie Daley takes the field at Bruce Stadium through a guard of honour for the last time.
And the fans fans everywhere adore you, but especially in Canberra.
He's called for the old sand bucket, which is dating himself.
There it goes! God help you! No, it's away! Not even the big man can help him!
And you're immortalised with the statue out the front. How did it feel to have a permanent reminder of all of your service and your legacy there?
Oh, it's wonderful. And it's just a good reminder when you go back that you think that you've helped contribute to the footy club. And, you know, I love the Raiders, always will, always supported them, will always support them. Great people, great fans, and I was lucky that I got to play with them.
As he retires from the game of rugby league, one of the all-time greats. He has given us 14 great years.
Boys, when you look one another in the eye, you don't let anyone down. I said to you a couple of days ago, the greatest respect that you can have as a footballer is that you have the respect from the players and the opposition. You get respect off the opposition by playing hard.
You still had this driving desire to coach, and you got that opportunity through New South Wales country, and then the Indigenous All-Stars.
All right, effort's there, energy's there, yeah?
Which was a different approach to coaching because, yes, it was coaching for a showpiece game, but also it had this huge cultural element.
Yeah.
And really, as the concept grew and grew, players would come into your camp really with not a strong sense of identity of who they are and leave with a whole new understanding.
And that was me as well. I think I was really embarrassed the first sort of camp because we sort of had cultural advisors come in, and he said from 1 to 10, put yourself where you think you know a lot about your family history. And I'm sort of sitting there thinking, oh, geez, rightio. And that's probably the first time that I've started then to get more interested in culture and more interested in the history side of it. And it's different to coaching Origin, it'd be different to coaching country, it'd be different to coaching the NRL. It's about the week. It's not so much about the footy, it's about the week, and it's about your learnings, and it's about your culture, and it's about finding out more about you and your family.
By 2012, New South Wales Rugby League call and they say, righto, Loz, we'd love you to take over from Ricky Stuart, coach New South Wales. Only problem was Queensland were already in the midst of this dynasty. It's a great opportunity, but how the hell are you going to take down these Queenslanders who, I think if you look back on, you can just acknowledge that that was a pretty exceptional era.
Origin is over. Queensland retain the championship. 7 in a row, 21-20.
They were hard to beat, so it was always going to be a challenge, but one that wouldn't be insurmountable if we were able to sort of believe in what we were doing.
And now the much-anticipated New South Wales side leaving the sheds. 8 years since they've won a series.
2013, I think we won the first game.
Here's full time. The Blues win. First time in an opener since 2008.
And then lost the next two.
Queensland have won their 8th consecutive series. It is a wonderful Australian sports achievement.
But then to follow it up the following year with a victory, that was pretty special.
New South Wales have won it. The 8-year dynasty has ended.
That was it. You extinguished the dynasty.
Yeah.
You did it.
Yeah.
And with Trent Hodkinson and Josh Reynolds, who no one gave a hope to, right? Like they were the most unfashionable picks.
Yeah, that was the thing that I was sort of proud of, is that those group of blokes in 2014, knowing what they were up against, but they didn't actually care about the reputation that they had.
And here he is, the coach, who knows what it's like to win a series. 3 in a row, in fact, in the middle 90s.
And just the second blue Laurie Daley to win a series as a player, as a captain, and a coach. Congratulations.
They went to lengths in that series, in particular the opening 2 games, that I haven't seen many football teams go to before. To see a guy like Gal, who'd been through that whole sort of period, and people doubting him and him carrying all the heartache and the pain, I was so happy for him to be captain and to win.
And now you step back into that role. You've now got a second chance at this New South Wales legacy.
I certainly appreciate it. And it's a privilege to coach New South Wales, but there comes a lot of responsibility as well. Being around Origin, I just know how difficult they are to win. It's hard to win a series, it's hard to win one game.
Doesn't matter if you're a champion Origin player or champion Origin coach. One of your best moments was actually on the sideline when Gus stole your chair. What happened, and why are you so polite?
Might have been Caitlin, my middle daughter, coming home laughing one day, and she said, Dad, you've gone viral. And I said, what do you mean I've gone viral? And she said, oh, you're all over the internet.
Uh-oh.
I said, oh, righto, what have I done? What have I done? And she said, oh, have you not seen it? So she puts it up and shows me, and I start laughing. And yeah, that's pretty funny.
So then you did the crouch.
So I did the crouch, yeah. Yeah, it wasn't trying to make out I had a seat. Someone was yelling at me, so oh, shit.
There's no
I better
chair.
go down. So what happens, Gus always used to sit next to Ronnie Palmer. And Ronnie took the wrong chair.
Ronnie started the chain.
Ronnie started the chain reaction. So Gus comes over, he sees Ronnie and goes, well, that's where I sit, next to Ronnie. But unfortunately, Ronnie had taken my chair. He'd moved one up rather than one down. So I'm blaming the great Ronald Palmer. There you go, Ronnie. I gave you a mention.
Sorry, Ronnie. Laurie Daley, a legend not just of your own time, but of these times as well. So thank you so much for everything.
Thanks, Bonnie. Thanks for having me.